Hello everybody, Devin back here with another deck profile for you guys. Um, this deck, honestly I kind of threw together last minute. I was not expecting to go to locals this week. I live up in the Midwest, and if you don't know, we've been having a lot of snow lately. But I did end up, making the trek, because, a friend wanted to see me. And we decided to go to locals, and this is the only thing I had built. I know I said I was going to be on Chimera for a while, and that is currently torn apart. I'm trying to rework it. I have an interesting idea for the branded stuff, and I think you could do some silly stuff with that and Hecka Hands. So be on the lookout for that when I can get my hands on the Hecka Hand stuff. But today, I did play another Fiendsmith deck. I absolutely love Fiendsmith. As you can see, this classic Santa Claus. Yeah, so I played Fiendsmith Primite. Absolutely crazy. I was talking about this with members of my team. Which shout out to one of them for the amazing artwork on this mat that I'm using as the background. But I was talking about this in the group chat with my team, and I was like, guys, I think maybe like heavier control is the way to go, because if you look at a lot of the decks in the format right now, at a glance, they seem like they can grind really well, and they do into each other a little bit. But if you use something like, I don't know, a drill beam on a Mitsu card, or even like, certain Vanquishal cards or certain Yummy cards, the recurring Banish and Omni from Drill Beam just really kind of messes them up, and then you back that up with all of your Fiendsmith stuff. And in testing, the deck kind of went a little bit insane. And so I was building it, and my friend was like, "Hey, do you want to come, hang out today and stuff?" And, I was like, let's see what the weather does. And then last minute, I decided to actually go. And I just grabbed this because it's what I had. There are some changes I would make after actually like playing it in a locals environment. And I will get into those changes at the end. So round one was against Sky Striker. Game one, he made me go first. He drew a lot of cards, but in the end, I was just able to outgrind him in game one. Game two, he went first, and he flipped DDG, and I didn't really have a hand that could play through it, so that was really rough. And then game three, game one I lost. Game two, I won, even though he flipped DDG, because I was just able to outgrind him anyways, thanks to Drill Beam and some Bestials. Game three was kind of a mess overall, because he went first, he DDG'd me again, and I had a hand that was able to get to Primite, get a set Drill Beam, establish a normal, and I had a Retaliating C in hand that I was able to, normal. I think I normal summoned it, and he could not play through it. It was bad. Especially with the Drill Beam, because I think he tried to Widow Anchor take it, and I was just like, Drill Beam? And obviously all of his spells were getting banished and everything. That particular game, I also just like had a bunch of hand traps, because he was on like the Radiant Typhoon build with all the quick plays, and I ashed the Visions, so he was down to 4 cards in hand. I believe I had him under Fuwa. So yeah, he just set a bunch of back row, flip Trap Trick, flip the DDG, and then it passed back to me, and like I said, I had the load with the Drill Beam, the normal, and the Retaliating Sea. Round 2, Branded Draco Tail. I did him absolutely dirty. One thing I knew, at least in my area, and the store I went to today was not the store I normally go to, but I am well aware that everyone in this area are very big fans of Draco Tail. So you will see the side deck is very tailored towards them, or that particular deck, I should say. So basically, game 1, I drew a bunch of hand traps, and he couldn't really do anything. I think I opened like double Imperm, Ash, Barrel Dragon, and I drew into a Bell or something, because I was going second. Game 2, my hand was, I want to say it was Bell, Delta, Gamma, Contact, Delta, Gamma, Bell, Contact C, and like a Primite Roar. And then for turn, I drew into Retaliating. And he absolutely could not play through that. Because he went normal summon Malulu. And for some reason, he just let me Contact See him. I don't know how that worked out. But yeah, I Contact Seed him. And then he tried to Fallen and the Virtuous destroy the Contact See, which he did. Yeah, because he made, I believe he made an Arthalion, and he went to use the effect to add back, because he used the Mululu that was on field in a card in hand. He made Arthalion, and I belled it. So he got 1 card set, and then he went to end phase Albion attempt to set the Fallen and the Virtuous again. And I can only theorize that he was trying to play around the Delta that he knew I had, and had stopped once with a Bell. And so I gammaed the Albion effect to set. So he had a Draco Tail Trap, no cards in hand, and used Arthalion. Needless to say, I cleaned up pretty quick from there. Round 3 was against Odeon. Odeon highlighted all of the weaknesses of my particular build, even though when I was talking about it with the group chat, I said, hey, be prepared because, you know, some people are going to be on back row heavy decks. That was just 3 grind games. Yeah, it was rough. I think, again, just the fact, you know, Drill Beam being a chainable Omni, really kind of carried me because, you know, he would try to establish traps and I would just banish them off the field. And then game 3 was just a really, really long grind game. I Fuwa'd him and he did not want to play into it. So he just set 5, passed. And it was just, you know, I tried playing into it. He stopped basically everything and I had held a load for a long time. So I had basically, I drew into draw for turn, so I had Lordly Load, my normal monster, and a barrel on field. And my graveyard was a tract, and I want to say I had a roar in there. That I had gotten to that particular game that I believe he ashed. But yeah, So basically, for the longest time, it was just like he was just setting and passing because he used up his traps, and I was banishing his most important stuff with the drill beam. And we got to time, and my heart was racing, and I'm just like playing as fast as I can because I was scared. He had a couple face downs that he never used, so I was scared to, get rid of my normal drill beam loop in case it was actually something relevant. So I was waiting until I drew into an extender because I just kept drawing into hand traps. And then eventually I drew an engraver. And I kind of just, I started going off from there. And he conceded with like a minute left on the clock. Round 4 was against Orcus Mitsurugi. That game was pretty quick. I believe I went second both games. He seemed like he was he seemed like he knew the Mitsurugi half pretty well, but he seemed like he was relatively new to the Orcus cards. His deck appeared to be very Mitsurugi heavy with a minimal Orcus engine, which one of my choices in non-engine was to hone in on Mitsurugi and Branded, because those are the two matchups this deck struggles the most with. Yeah, I mean, like he held, I believe, like game 1, he held a crescendo for a really long time because he didn't feel threatened, and then I made a Chaos Angel with just lights and went Chaos Angel effect to banish one of his Orcust links, because I knew he was sitting on crescendo, and he ended up not crescendoing it because he did not read Chaos Angel. He had just assumed it was completely unaffected. And we had, he was a cool guy. We had some laughs. I used to play I've played a lot of Orcust. I played Orcust so much. Even when Harp was banned, I was playing Orcust. I was playing Orcust Phantom Knight for a while. And I'm talking about like in tier format, I was playing Orcust Phantom Knight. But yeah, he was a cool guy. And I'm hoping he learns and continues to improve. He's a cool guy. So yeah, that was all 4 rounds. So round 1, I won 2-1. Round 2, I won 2-0. Round 3, I won 2-1. And round 4, I won 1-2-0. So let's hop into the deck profile. First up, Fiendsmith, most important engine. 3 engraver. Only 1 Lacrima. 1 Lurie. 1 Tract. 1 Sanct. And 1 Paradise. So originally when I was building the deck, I only own 1 Tract. Actually, there's a few choices in this deck that were made because this is just what I own, and not actually what I think is optimal. I only own 1 Tract. Otherwise, I would probably be on 2 Tract. Sanct is nice because if you end up in a position where you're drolled, you can get to like a Lacrima or something, but you need an extra body that you can't quite get to. You can like kind of like foolish a Sanct, and if you can bait your opponent into destroying something, you can get it back, activate it on your opponent's turn, do stuff. If you I actually drew the Paradise a lot, and I would have to, because I also did some testing earlier to get Mitsuyami. So one of the things I would do if I was under Droll is I would get a Lacrima out, I would Foolish Sanct, and then I would if I got Murakumo'd or something and I had Paradise in hand, I'd pitch the Paradise, send Extreme Day, add back the Sanct, keep going, whatever. But basically you kind of just need 2 different things that you can search off of Engraver. Ideally, I would play 2 Tract, 1 Sanct. That way, if you open a Tract, you can Tract and do stuff, and if you also have an Engraver and you need the extender, you can go into Sanct. And Sanct is just better because this deck, you self droll sometimes, but sometimes you open hands that just straight lose to droll and it just feels bad. So if you're like super worried about droll and your hand is like susceptible to droll and you don't have any extenders, if you get drolled when you add the tract, that's when you search Sanct. But yeah. Next up, second most important engine, Primite. 3 barrel, 3 lordly load. Back when I was playing Blue Eyes, I was actually only on 2 load because this engine was less important. But in this deck, the Primite engine is the most important engine. I'm on 2 Drill Beam. 2 Drill Beam is nice. There's some people on DD Crow, you know, like Orcus Crescendo. There are cards in the format that will banish this or prevent you from getting it back. And also you can kind of like mess with people a little bit if you go Barrel Dragon, you know, for if you go Barrel Dragon, set the Drill Beam, and then like load search something else, and you have a Drill Beam in hand that you can use. People do not play around it. They do not expect multiple Drill Beams. Roar, absolutely crazy card. I hit people with the little secret effect a few times. You know, banish their normal summon. Absolutely crazy. I would probably also play 2 Roar. The deck is kind of a little starved for starters. That's why I think, you know, maybe just 1 more Roar, 1 more Fiendsmith Tract, and I think you'll be good. You really don't want to play any more normal summons because, you know, with Barrel, you have 1, 2, 3, Lordly Load, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes you have to normal summon Lurie if you don't have anything else, so that's 7. Lacrima's 8. And then obviously your normal monsters are also potential normal summons. I'm on Primite Fusion. Primite Fusion's crazy. Because, so, I'll just go ahead and put down the... I'll explain what the Fusion does. The Fusion's absolutely busted. But besides being able to make the crazy Fusion, you know, if these get banished, like sometimes I would purposely banish these with Bestials to just shuffle them back with Fusion and then summon them out later with Load. I wish there was a way to recycle Fusion like there is with Drill Beam. Roar, normally you use it once and it doesn't really come up again, but like Fusion, if you had the ability to recycle Fusion, it would be absolutely crazy. Because Fusion recycles the Fusion monster. And you can also recycle the Fusion monster with Sequence because you we play Rex. But yeah, Dippity's good. Level 4, Light Fiend. Beast of Tall War. I did not own a Summon Skull. So I brought my Beast of Tall War. This ended up being better because the problem I ran into in testing is Summon Skull's defense is so low that it just gets run over. Like, they just normal summon, and it's like something you don't want to use your Drill Beam on, and then they just go to battle and walk over the Summon Skull. Because you have to summon it in defense, and its defense is only... Summon Skull's defense is only 12. This has, you know, 21. So most things people are normal summoning are not getting over this. The only major change I would make to the Primite engine is you really need to play a second Light Fiend normal. Even just a third normal in main in general would be really nice. But I think having a second Light Fiend normal, because I ran into a situation where I basically only had access to the Primite engine, and I had used my Primite Fusion to get the Dippity back after it had been banished, and then it ended up getting outed again, and I had no way to get it back. So yeah. Yeah. Crazy card. I would consider playing more than one, depending on the matchup. You can maybe side more. Next up for the bulk of the deck, the non-engine. Charmy's good. We're on 3 Fuwa. I'm on 2 Perulia. Meowls is also very good. I would not play 3 Meowls. I would side 2 Meowls and keep 2 Perulia, 3 Fuwa in the main. Because if you drop this in standby, a lot of people are just going to ash it just because. You know, because they don't want you to draw anything. So you can normally bait a hand trap, and then if you also have a Fuwa, then you're just off to the races. Because every deck you're gonna get at least, you know, like one draw, because most decks have to normal summon, right? But I found these two to just be the most generically useful. Malice, if they want to, I believe can pretty much completely play around Perulia, but they cannot play around Fuwa. And, you know, I normally side out Dracotail against... Or I normally side out Perulia against Dracotail in testing, because they just, you know, they only normal summon the once. So it's like, do I want the upstart or do I want something that actually interrupts them, right? But yeah, so Charmies are good, and you really, this deck loses to Fuwa, so we play 3 Ash. Bell overall is a really good card. It hits literally all of the Justice Hunter decks. Because Mitsu's such a hard matchup, because Bell hits all the Justice Hunter decks, but it hits Dracotail especially hard, and like I said, Dracotail and Mitsu are your two worst matchups in the format. So for that, we have Droll. And this also, luckily, hits Canine Vanquish Soul, which kind of saw a resurgence at locals. While I did not personally play against it. Yeah, definitely was nice having in the main. Especially in that Striker matchup. Next up, I play 2 Nib. Nib hits most everything. It's a little awkward against Mitsu, but nobody's really on pure Mitsu, so they're using the level 8s to do stuff. So, you know, you can Nib, and, you know, they still have to waste the prayers on their turn because they linked it off into something or whatever. The only deck I've found this doesn't really hurt is sometimes Yummy if their hand is subpar. And also Dracotail, if they're on the branded variant, if they're not playing pure, they're not going to get hit by this. If they're on the branded variant, if they go through the branded fusion and do that whole thing, you can hit them with Nib, otherwise Nib's pretty dead. Bestials. Bestials are really good extenders in this deck. You want, you know, level 6s. Being dark absolutely helps with, for Chaos Angel purposes. And a lot of the time you're Bestialing your own stuff. So even in matchups where these are bad, I normally leave in, like, at least Magnamut, because it'll search Barrel if I Bestial my own thing. And, you know, a lot of people are on, like, Veilers, stuff like that, so obviously you can just hit that, you know, with a Magna and search Barrel. Last hand trap, Imperm. Imperm is actually really good right now. It's a little bit awkward into Dracotail. You kind of just have to wait for them to use their 5 mana before you do this. Or you hold it for their turn and you just Imperm the Ghoul-O-Mel and they can't really do anything about it. But Imperm is absolutely crazy, does not trigger canines. You know, it's a little bit awkward in certain game states for Yummy, depending on what they end on. And, you know, it's pretty good into Mitsu because it forces them... Because, like, a lot of people say, oh, stuff like that doesn't matter against Mitsu, but... Just being able to, like, Imperm the Murakumo and forcing them to have to use prayers to bring it back before they have to pitch something. Because, like, at that point, you can get, like, a search off without having to discard anything if your hand is maybe, like, you kind of need everything in your hand to play through the board. Imperm just can help. Even though, you know, because it forces them to do something in order to actually have their little Omni Negate type of deal on. Last 2 cards, Called By and Talents. Talents was absolutely insane. Called By I never saw. I would play Crossout, just given all the non-engine. This deck really struggles with Nib, and it struggles with Fuwa in particular. Perulia, you don't really care about. I could see Meowls being annoying. But, yeah. Next up, we will go to the extra deck. Extra deck is a little bit wonky. So we have, obviously, 1 Requiem. And I'll explain why I'm on a lot of 1-ofs for the Fiendsmith stuff. So 1 Requiem, 1 Sequence, 1 Agnumde, 1 Lacrima, 1 Desiree, 1 Rex Tremende. If I could play a 16th card in my extra deck, Oh, it would. Oh, it would probably. Honestly, it would probably be the Necroquip. But yeah, Rex Tremende. You know, one of my friends kept telling me not to play this, and I was like, dude, it's absolutely insane because you know your Requiem gets if they bestial your Requiem engrave, you just get it back, shuffle this back, and this is surprisingly easy to make. It's a Fiendsmith fusion, so one of these. Plus any fusion or link monsters. So you can recycle basically everything in your extra deck that you like care about over the long term. Yeah. His foolish effect came up a couple times. I made him. I want to say I made him twice and equipped him with an Agnumde and a sequence. So his attack was like 6,000. So he's just a 6K towers. And on summon, he just sends the Desiree straight to grave. So you can, you know, send something, and then you have a monster they can't do anything about. And then, yep. Next up, we'll go over the last couple, like, honorary Fiendsmith cards. A bow is crazy good. So I know I said in the Chimera video that I didn't really use its effect to pop. This particular tournament, I actually popped a lot more things than I did summoning back, because I found, like, generally, you know, in this deck, when you go through all of your Fiendsmith stuff, everything's generally just back in your deck or extra deck. So there's not really a whole lot you need to revive. There were a couple instances, like against Odeon, where I did not need to pop anything, because my other cards had, like, taken care of it. So I was able to just use it to revive an Engraver or something to keep playing. But yeah, Abao, still absolutely insane card. There were some instances where, like, I didn't really have enough extension to end on a Bow Caesar or something, so I would just end a Bow and, like, maybe an SP because I didn't have level 6 access. Obviously, the Caesar. I made Caesar, like, maybe once or twice. I actually ended up making Lars a lot more. And I think it was probably partially just due to the matchups I was against, because I was a lot more afraid. I mean, obviously, with Odeon, I was a lot more afraid of the traps. You know, Draco Tail, I don't think I ever went first. Orcus Mitsu, I don't think I went first against. And then Striker, I was a lot more afraid of the board breakers than I was, you know, Ray summon something from extra deck. Primite Dragon Nether Berzilis. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize to whoever came up with it. This card's crazy. If you summon this against Yummy, it just says win the game. Because basically, for those of you unfamiliar, so with Primite Fusion, if you make this with Primite Fusion, so every normal monster you shuffle back in from your grave or banished with Primite Fusion. So, I mean, he just needs his material, but that's what Primite Fusion does. He gains 1,000 attack for every normal monster uses fusion material. And then also, the activated effects of monsters your opponent controls whose levels, ranks, or link ratings are less than or equal to the number of normal monsters in your field and graveyard. And then it has the bonus effect. If this card is sent from field to graveyard, you can special normal monster from deck in defense. So this card is just nice if you have, if you don't really have, like a super good way to extend. It can serve as extension. Like if you had room, you could just play Gravity Controller, and then you could Primite into this, and then Gravity Controller it away and special something out. If you don't want to have to worry about the potential of, like, Roar not always being live because you have a token on your field or something that you can't link away. But the Floodgate effect is absolutely hilarious because it actually came up against the Orcust player you know, I made this. I only made it with one material, and he was at 26. And I had a Beast of Talwar on field, and he went to link into you know, Galatea Eye. He just couldn't do anything about it. If I had access to a roar or something in that game, I probably would have also had like a Dippity on field war engrave, and he just would not have been able to do anything at all. Yummy, this is crazy. You put this up against Yummy. If they're not maining like Droplet or something, they can't out this card. SP's SP. The last 3 XEs, Typhon go crazy. Zeus, this deck, if your opponent sets up like a big board, this deck cannot out it. You need to play Zeus. I learned that through testing. I was trying really hard to not play Zeus, because along with Zeus is the other card I don't really super want in my extra deck. I actually thought Night Lancer would be really funny, because you can if there's something that's hard to out that can't be targeted or something, and you just need it gone, you can overlay this on like a Spent Caesar or like a Lars or something after you negate something, slap this on top. And then if you have an engraver, equip it with a Requiem, and then boom, you can suck something. That has come up in testing, but not at this tournament. What actually did come up more times than I would like is this can just be slapped on top of something. So if you have a Caesar with 2 materials, but you don't need Caesar, you need a Zeus, you can just like, you know, put that on top and then go like that. And then you have your 4 material Zeus, which came up more than I'm happy to admit. Chaos Angel, insane card. I don't think he needs much of anything said about him. Finally, side deck. Obligatory Santa Claus. This side deck was really tailored towards Canine, Mitsu, a little bit of Young. A lot of this stuff just kind of overlaps, but mostly Dracotail and Mitsu. Contact C for Dracotail, like I said, they really just cannot out this card without falling on the Virtuous if they're on the branded version and they don't play Lynx. And then Retaliating C, this is just good into a bunch of decks right now. A lot of them cannot out this. Phantasme, good into most decks right now. It's just free draws and targeting protection. A lot of things target right now. Obviously, we are on the Chaos Hunter. There are people at my locals who, like I said before, still play Malice, so we are playing Chaos Hunter. I will get to this one last. We are on a Psyframe package. Every time one of these resolved, I'm pretty sure I just won the game. These cards are stupid. What I'm thinking about doing is just moving these to the main. Moving, you know, the Gamma, the Delta, and the Delta to the main. Maybe playing the 3rd Delta, because you can, if you have to use the Psyframe on your opponents going first turn, you can, you know, use Fusion to get this back from Banished. And then you have, you know, another lives. If you have another Psyframe in hand, you can add a Lambda. Yeah. Because the problem I ran into consistently with this deck is, like, you need just a generic normal monster. You need a generic link monster that normal monsters can go into. And at first I was playing IP, and then I cut it for the Lancer and the Zeus. Which, you know, ended up working out. The times I made Lancer into Zeus, I did not end up needing both Zeus activations. That's why I think I can cut the Lancer for a Lambda and move those to the main. Final card in the side deck. I stole a page out of Canine Vanquish Soul's book. I just wanted something that really just hated on Mitsu, especially Yummy Mitsu, because I'm already on Typhon Zeus, and that's all this card does. All this card does is you're playing against Yummy Mitsu, and you can get it to resolve. You make a Lupus. You slap a Typhon on top. You just go to battle. Generally, you're going to walk over a Yummy monster. You know, and then you go main phase 2. Because you made this on your opponent's turn. That's why you're not locked. So you make this on your opponent's turn 1. They're locked out of their, you know, Murakumo, the only super relevant Mitsu thing people are maining. because people are trimming their Mitsu packages, which actually my friend who was on Yummy Mitsu cost him a game that way because he just did not have the gas in his Mitsu engine to bring it back after I outed it in our test game. So yeah, you attack over like a relevant Yummy monster that you want off their field, whether it be like Herald or like a Synchro or something. Generally it's Herald because their Synchro can't like actively stop the Zeus. Because then you just go like this and you Zeus, and yeah, they can't really stop it. I mean, they can make you Murakumo discard a card, but like you don't, at that point you're outing their entire board, so you don't super care. But yeah, Lupus I did not draw it at this particular tournament, but in testing, this card is absolutely insane just as a hand trap. I would not. It would probably be even better if you had the room in your extra deck to dedicate dedicate space to Azuna, because then you could like play like a Ripper and Valon to like, you know, going second as like in like a turn 0 interruption, or even the Ripper, more so just to protect yourself from incoming hand traps. But this still, just having turn 0 access to these cards basically, absolutely crazy. And honestly, I would just recommend people just play Lupus, man. It's really silly. Because it's almost even better to play more copies of this, even in Vanquish Soul. If you're playing not necessarily Vanquish Soul K9, I was testing Vanquish Soul K9 because I'm planning on going to some regionals and upcoming YCS next year. Yeah, like it's even better than Azuna because people will like Ash the Azuna and stuff, and then it doesn't do anything. But this they can't stop. Like the only thing that like stops this on your opponent's turn is something like an Impulse, which not every deck can play right now, or something like if they're maining Droplets, which you probably should be doing if you can. Yeah, that is the deck profile. I know some people were asking for Chimera combos in the last video. I can look into doing that for the old lists. And there's no real combos for this. This deck is like super low to the ground. Like your goal is basically just to survive and repeat surviving until your opponent is dead. You don't really have any big combos. It's very hard to OTK. Generally the best in this particular list, without the changes I plan on making, the best end board you can end on is like a Bow, Caesar, and like a Drill Beam, which is a lot, don't get me wrong. Plus, you know, whatever hand traps you happen to draw. But yeah, if you don't draw any hand traps and you get interrupted a little bit, like most of the time your end board is like a Drill Beam and like, you know, maybe something Fiendsmith related if you're lucky. You know, that's why I want to add the second Tract. I want to add the second Roar. And I would like to add a second Light Fiend normal. Just to boost consistency a little bit. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.